Since 1983, FAME has helped business and education work for Maine. Contact the authority, the Finance Authority of Maine. You're watching Mainebiz Sunday, Maine's business news source.
Welcome back. We're discussing how gas prices affect businesses and Maine's economy. Our guest includes Charles Colgan, Professor of Public Policy and Management at the University of Southern Maine, Brian Parke, Director of the Maine Motor Transport Association, Jamie Pye, Director of Maine Energy Marketers Association, and Gerry Greenleaf, Vice President of Distribution at Hannaford. All right. I was hoping that you would actually get into a conspiracy theory and tell me that there was this great, cabal that was controlling all this. There maybe is, I don't know. But it is supply and demand. But world issues impact that as well, too. I want to talk about that for a moment before we get into kind of more the practical, how businesses manage it. What do, obviously the unrest in the Middle East, either approaching democracy or whatever, has an impact on this. What do you think is going to happen for this summer, Charlie, as an example? What will prices be?
At the moment, the political situation in the Mideast is not having much of an effect on prices. Even futures prices haven't shot way up.
Well, why? I would think that they would by now.
Well, I think it's because there is probably, if there's upward pressure at all, it will come in the next few weeks as Egypt settles down into something and we see how far the unrest spreads.
And it's the other more unstable countries that may...
Places like Bahrain, for example, Egypt has no oil.
Are we worried about the production or the stranglehold on Suez Canal, things like that? Is that the issue?
I think the question is all about production levels.
Okay.
Would some of the Emirates in the Gulf, for example, reduce their supply? That would be the major issue. I
want to follow up on that with just from your perspective, from your members, and from your business. When you see that stuff happening at the global level, what do you guys talk about at the boardroom? When you're thinking about making those decisions and your members?
Well, actually, again, go back to what I was talking about. All that happens. I have no control.
Yep.
Hannaford has no control of what's happening. What we can do is have a good strategy to react to that.
Mm-hmm.
And our strategy has been investment. And what I said earlier is, how do we manage our consumption? How do we look at that and anticipate it, and look at our operations, and how do we reduce our consumption of fuel by being efficient?
Our members talk about the same things that Gerry's talking about. We talk about ways to improve efficiency. We talk about we fully understand that we're not going to conserve our way out of this crisis, nor is additional production going to be the end all be all either. One of the things that our industry, and Hannaford was actually one of the first companies to sign up for it, but one of the ways that we've invested in reducing consumption is through the partnership with the Environmental Protection Agency through the EPA's SmartWay Transport Partnership.
Okay.
The principles behind the SmartWay program is to increase energy efficiency, reduce your carbon footprint through whether it's the trucking industry, whether it's shippers, whether it's an association like ours, to implement strategies such as improving aerodynamics of the trucks, utilization of single-wide tires to reduce rolling resistance and weight. Driver training is a big component of it. Progressive shifting and acceleration and braking, as well as non-discretionary idling, using auxiliary power units in order to when a driver is either at a dock or is taking his required hours of service break, instead of running their tractor engine, they can use these APUs, which is environmental.
So when your members look at the charts and they see that kind of line steadily going up, and they're looking at those efficiencies that they may do, are they doing them just to break even, or are they actually going to capture some new savings and maybe improve their bottom line?
Well, I think in the end, it's going to improve their bottom line, and they see it as an investment. They see it as their duty, even to the environmental impact that they're having.
Well, all I can share is since 2008, we changed our strategy on our equipment to look at a shorter life cycle. The new tractors that are being produced today are far more efficient than a tractor that was 5-6 years old. Our fleet is now less than 4 years old.
Right.
Between that, we talked about the equipment specification, lighting up the loads, looking at aerodynamics. Our drivers have onboard computers, so we actually have gone to automatics. And that allows us to make sure we have the performance necessary. The drivers get feedback on a daily basis to what their idling was, automatic shutdowns. So we use controls around the equipment, which is the investment in technology. Every single tractor has an onboard. And to the point where we've improved our efficiency in our miles per gallon by 20% over 2 years. If fuel is increasing at 15%, the bottom line is we're decreasing the cost to our consumer.
Good.
And that's what's the investment part of the business.
And long-term effects to greenhouse gas emissions, all that kind of stuff as well?
Actually, we're having our current data for the last 2 years is our emissions have reduced 60% because, again, those tractors are not only fuel efficient,
Good.
they're reducing the emissions completely.
We're going to have to wrap pretty quickly, but I want to end this segment with asking about, have you all weigh in on public policy? Is it, how is the state doing and federal government in that regard in terms of energy prices, fuel prices? Should they be more involved, less involved? Where are you and your members at with this? We'll just start down here.
Well, the state obviously does play a role in fuel prices. They collect taxes. In our industry, it's diesel taxes.
Yep.
Diesel taxes go to pay for a safe and efficient roadway, and the roads are our drivers' workplaces for all intents and purposes. So in that respect, the state does have an impact on diesel prices. I was just in the taxation committee last week, to talk about what the right level of taxation is, and certainly we're not opposed to increasing the funding for roads, because let's face it, the roads need to be fixed.
You want to make sure that money stays with the
roads. Roads and bridges is where we'd like the infrastructure
All right,
improvements.
Good. How about Hannaford? What would they like to see happen?
Well, what I find intriguing is that we work and travel in many states. Some states allow us to do things that create efficiency. For example, in Massachusetts and New York, we can haul double trailers. It really means I'm moving twice the freight at about the same cost, or just slightly incremental more than that. In the state of Maine, we don't have that. So we'd love to see the states become uniform in some of the things and look at practices through the reality of what it brings to the total picture. We can still have safe roads while hauling double trailers, 2 trailers at the same time, proven by some states, while reducing our cost of fuel.
Okay. Jamie?
Charlie, I'd have to, just the supply and demand discussion about where prices are is very basic, and we could go on this for a couple hours. But if I had 3 things that I'd like to approach, and they would be, one is energy policy in the country, when we're banning drilling for the next 7 years off the coast, and we're not allowing permits to be given, and AMWR is off limits, and we're not doing anything to increase supply. 2, you have monetary and fiscal policy. We're printing dollars by the boatload. Printing dollars by the boatload means that you're going to you're going to increase the price of commodities. And 3rd, you have commodity speculation that goes on, which we see quite a bit through the CFTC, that has some element to driving up commodity prices, whether it's oil, gas, corn, cotton, and all those things. Those 3 things do impact prices pretty significantly.
All right, I'm going to have to stop right there, but I'm going to keep you guys around for an afterthoughts, and I want to talk more about that speculation issue and how that does impact, and then just in general, what taxes and how those policies may affect us. So we'll drill down a little bit deeper. No pun intended. Okay, maybe it was intended. Stay with us. You can catch more of this discussion about rising gas prices in Maine and what businesses are doing with them in our exclusive afterthought segment, seen only on the web. Just go to mainebiz.biz and click on the Mainebiz Sunday link. We'll be right back.
Mainebiz Sunday is made possible in part by funding provided by the Finance Authority of Maine.